Now we've been looking at different ways that we can categorize procedures. So we saw one thing that we first looked at was we saw that some procedures are primitive procedures. So we can look those up in the microworlds vocabulary. So any of these procedures in here, if we wanted to look up home, okay, we see the word home and it doesn't have any parameters here, so we can see that this is a primitive procedure. In other words, it's a procedure. So all the procedures listed here are procedures that were written by the microworlds people, written for you. So the way to think about it is that there's some invisible procedures tab somewhere behind the scenes where all these procedures have been written up. And then we saw there are procedures that you can write yourself. You can put them in the procedures tab in here, or you can write procedures that you can put into the turtle's backpack. If we wanted to, we could add some more procedures here. And then we looked at, starting with the primitive procedures, we started comparing commands and reporters. And we saw that, for example, home is a command, and we know that that's a command. Let me make this a little bigger here. We know that home is a command because we can type home in the command center as the first word on the line, and our and the command gets executed with no errors. So if we had a reporter like xcore, it's going to tell us I don't know what to do with 0. Or if we're over here, xcore, I don't know what to do with 223, because that's the xcore of the turtle at this time, right? Here's his xcore. Okay. Well, that's one way we distinguish commands and reporters. And then we also saw that when we look them up in the vocabulary, if we look up xcore, it says stands for x coordinate, reports the x coordinate of the current turtle. So it's reporting something, right? But if we look at home, it says moves the turtle to the center of the page. So if it does something to the turtle, if it prints something out to the command center, or makes something appear or disappear, or change color, if it has some effect on the world here, then it's a command. But if it gives you information, if it's telling you the x coordinate of something, or if it's giving you other information, then it's a reporter. And we saw also that so these particular procedures, home and xcore, don't take any inputs. They don't need any inputs. We don't need to say home and then add something to it, or xcore and then add something to it. So some procedures don't need any inputs, whether they're commands or whether they're reporters. Some of them don't need any. Some of them do need input. So we saw for forward is a command that needs inputs. So and what it likes as inputs is maybe a number, right? So we can say forward 50. Okay. And then we saw that some reporters need inputs. So sum needs more inputs. Sum 5 still needs more inputs. 5 and 6, 11. I don't know what to do with 11. Okay, so as soon as a reporter has all the inputs it needs, that's when you see this error message come up. So it has the inputs it needs and it likes those inputs, but it doesn't know what to do with the answer. So again we can, and then we saw that we can kind of put together commands and reporters by using the reporters to report information for the command. So we could say forward xcore, or we could say forward by the sum of 5 and 6, or we could say forward by the sum of 5 and xcore, right? Ooh, went backwards. That's interesting. Okay, so oh, I think it just went wrapped around, so sometimes it'll go wrap all the way around the screen. So if we make our xcore a little smaller, yeah, it just goes forward a little bit. So anyway, so we can kind of piece these things together, and we're going to be talking more about how these things get pieced together. But the distinction I wanted to make sure we're clear on this time is that some procedures are primitive, some procedures are written, like these procedures are written in here, right? And from the primitive procedures we've seen so far, some of the primitive procedures are commands and some are reporters. And that reporters may or may not need inputs, and commands may or may not need inputs. All right. So far those are the distinctions we've made, and in the next video I'm going to start talking about how we can write our own procedures that may be commands, may be reporters, may need input, may not need input. Okay, or can have different kinds of output. So we'll look at that in the next video.